Shock Monkey Radio is entertainment for adults, by adults, and the views and opinions expressed here do not reflect upon the sponsors or FXBG Public Radio. For additional information, please refer to the United States Bill of Rights. Stand warned. Sorry, Joel. Sorry. We saw the chat after the fact. I don't monitor the chat during the show because last time I tried to do that, it locked my laptop up on me. Shoestring budget here at Shock Monkey Radio. And plus I got this guy over here, not monitoring chat or anything like that. I mean, he makes all the magic happen, don't get me wrong, but, if you watched the show last week, you saw he just, left. 40 minutes in, just left for 10 minutes. I went through 3 news stories without him here. Nothing's changing on the screen. I guess it's a luxury. Because we used to do the show without any kind of notes or anything. Sorry, Joel. That's on us. But, if you wanted to learn how to be a producer, I can get somebody with an attention span greater than 45 seconds in that seat. Maybe we could be a lot smoother show. I don't know. I'm working with what I got. Welcome to Shock Monkey Radio. I'm your host, the Madman. I want to remind you that I have a Patreon. Go to patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio. Become a patron today. Or you can send me money through Cash App. Hashtag Shock Monkey Radio, all one word, and maybe I can afford a better producer. You can follow me over here on social media, on Twitter, at Denolitsaw, that's the word wasteland spelled backwards, and at SLRobbins13 on the Instagrams. Yeah. All right, so we're going to have a show today. It's going to be hot in here. It's been hot. Hot summer. Hot summer. I watched that movie, Summer Rental, that John Candy movie. You ever seen that? Yeah. There was that scene where they're at the restaurant, the seafood restaurant, and they had the tank where all the lobsters were sitting in there. And I remember those days. I remember those days in the 80s when you'd go to a Red Lobster or something like that. There's a big long line and there's a big tank and everyone's picking their lobsters out of a tank. And I remember being hungry. A kid, we'd been there waiting for an hour, looking at this tank of these sea bugs, these lobsters, and wondering, I'm not appetized. I'm hungry. I'm looking at this weird looking thing it's like a cat with white whiskers coming out of its nose. And those things coming out of its nose are feeling on the ground in front of it. Do restaurants still have those lobster tanks anymore? I haven't been to. Yeah. I don't understand that whole premise. Where you're supposed to look at that and it's I'm hungry. No, that's not sea bugs. No, you shouldn't eat sea bugs. When I was a kid in Georgia, I used to go crabbing. I like catching crabs because they're silly creatures as well. Lobsters, they swim backwards. That's literally backwards evolution. All right. Same with shrimp. They swim backwards. What is going on under the water? That's what I want to know. And I used to go crabbing, and the crabs, they're weird. They're always coming at you sideways or walking sideways. What kind of retarded evolution is that? But I got to give respect to the crabs, because I'd catch a crab, and you ever start a fight with a crab? You just shove the crab. The crab would be there got his claws up, going back and forth. He's like, come at me, bro. Come at me, bro. Crabs will scrap. You know what I mean? Even in their goofy way. And fiddler crabs. You know what fiddler crabs are, right? They have this one big giant claw that they hide under. It's like they're a teenager, it's just always hiding their eyes. They don't want anyone to look at their eyes. And they got this one little tiny claw that they eat with. And you're looking at that and it's that can't be God's design. It's an emo crab. He's walking around. And plus, they have no idea how weird they look. They're walking around with this big giant claw, this little tiny gimpy one. And this is normal. Everyone I know's got this. It makes me wonder if they look at other crabs and they're like, man, 2 equal sized claws? I could do so much with that. Crab. And their goofy little eyes that come out. Little stalks. Seagulls try to catch them by those things. What weird creatures are on this planet? And somebody's somebody's like trying to convince me that that's food. I said, what do you catch these crabs for? It was like, so people eat them. It's like, get out of here. People don't eat these things. Like, yeah, they do. It's like, get out of here. So it just makes me wonder. It's like, who was the first person to eat a crab? Because I guarantee it wasn't somebody looking at a crab on the beach and saying, I bet that tastes good. No, they probably wanted something that tastes good, but they couldn't catch a mammoth. They couldn't catch a cow or something like that. It was a moment of opportunity. It's like, I'm going to try to catch that and throw it at a rock for a while until I can see something pops out that I can eat. That's how it went down. All right. You're trying to convince me that's food. You're out of your mind. Do not eat those sea bugs. See, I went to a Japanese steakhouse this past week and I had some shrimp and I'm mad at myself for enjoying it. Explains a lot. Are we all caught up here? Speaking of which, there's other like weird creatures, like the bird, which is the bald eagle. Any kind of like predatory bird. We say that like the bald eagle is like representation of America, but those are vicious creatures. You know what I mean? I think we did. What's one of the stories? The bald eagles in Alaska attacking people. Yeah. So they're vicious creatures, and those predatory birds. They have those hooked beaks. And that's straight up for murder, straight up for killing. And that's what these like, and not just like predatory birds, like birds of prey, but other birds are incredibly vicious to each other. They are little flying dinosaurs after all. Let's be honest. All right. You ever see like a big bird flying through the air? Not the yellow one from Sesame Street. You know what I mean? A large bird flying through the air, and there's one or two other little birds coming up and pecking at it. I've solved the mystery. I'm a detective. You know what happened there? That big bird found those little birds' nests, ate their eggs. The little birds found out, and now they're like a level 1 bard attacking. A level 10 wizard or something like that. You're doing absolutely no damage. That's what birds do. They eat each other. I showed you that video of those eagles swallowing those chicken chicks. Mm-hmm. I showed you that. They don't care. They are vicious creatures. Oh, the bald eagle's so majestic, and it's so vicious too. I told you about the hawk I saw that caught the squirrel when I was playing frisbee golf that one time. Like right in front of me, this hawk just started tearing into the squirrel. I felt sorry for the squirrel. I understand it's a fact of life and everything, but it was so fast, it took me by surprise, and I wasn't even involved. Strange creatures on this earth. And I was thinking about like squirrels too. Squirrels, for some reason, are what I like to call suburban rats. Let's be honest, what they are. They're suburban rats. But because they're not actual rats like city rats, like there are rats around like the Fredericksburg area. I mean, there's urban areas that are urban enough where we do have rats. However, people will feed squirrels. People in downtown Manhattan, they don't feed the rats intentionally. It's just they don't care where the trash goes, and that's kind of like unintentionally feeding the rats. But people will be looking at a squirrel and, oh, that's such a cute little animal. Look at the big fluffy tail. But in the city, rats! You know what I mean? Same friggin' creature. It's like having gerbils, hamsters. It's the same damn thing. Same damn thing, same motivations. But one looks cuter. Speaking of cuter ones, cuter animals, koalas. Oh, koalas are so cute. They're like little teddy bears who are high on eucalyptus, stoned out of their minds. And if you try to get them to do anything but keep eating eucalyptus and be stoned out of their minds, they can get incredibly mean. Incredibly mean. All right. And it's funny because, you'll people have this thing. It's like, oh, what a cute and cuddly bear. That bear looks so cute. And it's like that bear will rip you apart like that. What's his name? Jeffrey Tradwell or whatever. What's his name? The grizzly man. He went up to Alaska and stayed way late in the season. And he ended up getting eaten by bears. You know what I'm talking about? It is terrible. Because he was an idiot. He's like, these bears are so beautiful and majestic. That's how he talked. They're just so beautiful and majestic. They'll never harm me. No, they'll eat you. Make no mistake. It's like, it's a vicious world. That's why the crab is come at me, bro. All right, because the crab lives in this world too. And pandas. Can you think of a more cute and useless creature than a panda? Useless. I don't know how many videos of pandas I've seen on the internet of them just falling off of stuff, bumping into things. You know, there's a reason why a species stops breeding. They're like, we're just too dumb. We're just too dumb to keep on living. That's kind of what America's kind of dealing with. No one wants to have kids. Everyone's aborting their babies. It's almost like you think we're not good enough to live. Anyway. Let's be honest, you know, we're the weirdest creature of all. But I mean, I don't know, sloths. You know, sloths? They're all hanging out in trees all day long, just dopily. What's time? They only ever come down out of a tree to poop, and I understand that. It's literally don't shit where you eat. So I mean, sloths are smart enough to know that. So I mean, but so many of these creatures, they have no concept of their age or their mortality. We have that knowledge, and that's why we're the craziest creature on the planet. And I don't even know if I want to get into the whole topic of horses today. I feel like I don't have enough wellspring of rage to get into the horse thing today, but they're evil. But I was also thinking, like, not only like horses, but anything horse-like elks, like deer, like big deer, moose, giraffes. And don't get me started on the continent of Africa. Like hippos. You ever seen those hippos coming at you in water? It's like, how did that big fat ass creature coming through the water like that? Oh my Lord. Anyway. All right, let's I'm going to go through a controversial topic here. I don't know how to address it. How to address it. So I got unfriended by a baby killer. And I just want to tell you that it's don't do that. Don't do that. Don't unfriend people for having a difference of an opinion than you. Right or left. Agree with me or don't, you know, but there's no reason to do that. You know, and if you do that, then I don't think you can objectively look at your friends list and say those are real friends. Because if you unfriend everybody who disagrees with you, you don't really have any friends. EK and I disagree all the time. Me and my best friends disagree all the time. That makes us better people for interacting in that way. And God bless all you people on my friends list who disagree with me and are still on it. I know you disagree with me. But, you know, we don't have to necessarily talk about it. But if you bring up something like, I don't know, like, this poor systematic of the Palestinian children being killed in Palestine, and I'm like, I want to go into how that's not a real place and how Hamas stacks children and women next to military targets for the collateral damage so they can show to idiots like you, like, look to the horrible things the Jews are doing. And then all of a sudden you find yourself in an anti-Semitic place. And so instead of like getting into that, I just said, well, yeah, I don't think I could look in God in the eyes when he asked me, what did you do about the systematic murder of children? And I said, well, the women thought that was her right. And so I changed the topic from poor little Palestinian children to the murder of children in America. All right. And I kind of fooled her. She kind of fell for it. And she's like, oh, I agree with you 100%. And then the next post, like 2 minutes later, was, wait a minute, were you talking about abortion? And I'm like, yes, I was. And then she started taking screenshots of my timeline where it shows pictures like I'm supporting Trump and so forth like that. And therefore, that means I'm evil and I'm wrong and so forth. And all her friends started piling on and saying, oh, I can't believe a man is out here trying to tell us how to live. They don't have a uterus. And I got unfriended. And for some reason, I keep getting notifications about a conversation I'm not allowed to participate in. I don't need that Facebook. Thank you. But unfortunately, I read like very quickly and automatically. So when these notifications pop up, I can't not read some of it. And it's all this, men have no right to tell us what to do with our bodies. Like you're killing a different body, which is a human being. So I think I do have some right. As a human being, born of a woman who did not have me killed, I feel like I have some right. What'd you say?
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, thanks, Mom. All right. Don't derail me, man. And it's all about this. It's like, oh, I can't believe it, man. And there's obviously there's an underlying misandry underneath it all. It's a hatred of men underneath it all. But a large chunk of that is screw you, Dad. That's the whole point. A lot of this is a big screw you, Dad. Even the white male patriarchy, that's all screw you, Dad. And why? Because their dad was probably a white Christian male, the kind of man who makes the world go round. All right. And the reason why they hate their dad so much is because they know Dad was right. Dad was like, you dress like a slut, guys are going to treat you like a slut. Next thing you know, you're going to be a slut, and then you're going to have a kid, and your whole life's going to be different, and it's going to be changed, and you're going to have some jackass's kid who's not going to help you out. And to escape all that, all you have to do is go get an abortion. You go get an abortion. They're under no obligation to tell your family what happened, and so you never have to go to your dad and say, you were right, Dad. And that's the whole point. This whole thing is about women dodging accountability. And when I say something like abortion is murder, and all of these baby killers come running out of the woodwork and grouping up together, it's like, it's not murder. It's not murder. And the reason why they do that is because deep down in their soul, they know what they did was murder. That they try to placate themselves with things like, oh, it's just a clump of cells, it's my reproductive rights, and I have to exercise my rights, right? They try to tell themselves these things, but I guarantee you on their deathbed, they're going to wish they had those kids around helping take care of them. All right? They dodge accountability, and they don't want to face the fact that they are murderers. And as far as I'm concerned, you're all a bunch of slutty serial killers. So don't think that it hurts my feelings when a bunch of slutty serial killers don't like me. All right? And that I'm not a Christian. I'm not a Christian because I don't want babies being killed. I'm not a Christian because I'm not mad that Donald Trump wasn't killed. Yeah, I got that. I think I got that right. All right. I'm the bad person. I'm the one who's not a Christian. Okay. All right. So I don't really want to hear it. I'm done trying to talk to you people about this, because you're all so caught up in yourselves. You're so caught up in your own narcissistic life that you're willing to kill your own children. You're willing to kill your brothers and sisters, nieces and nephews, your parents' grandchildren, just to continue to live like you want to live. And the road to your quote unquote liberation is paved with the corpses of dead children. And the Punisher in me, the Frank Castle on my shoulder, says to me, how many abortions do you have? You had 6? You need to serve 6 back-to-back life sentences without the possibility of parole. Yes, I'm serious. And then you're going to start getting numbers like 350 back-to-back life sentences when you start talking about the people who get abortions. All right? Without the possibility of parole. Yeah, I know they can't serve that amount of time, but I want it on paper, because that's how many dead children we're talking about. Oh, you have no right. You have no right to say it. You're a man. You're a man. You have no right to say. You know what, ladies? Don't wipe back to front. Don't do that. Don't cut off a finger every time a cat sneezes around you. Don't do heroin. I know I hate to mansplain it all, or get involved with how you treat your body. I know where life comes from. You know where life comes from. And you're just trying to placate yourself into pretending you're not a serial killer. I guess you're not a serial killer if it's more like you hire a contract killer. I guess you're not technically a serial killer. Contract killers. And that's what the Punisher on my shoulder was. The Jesus Christ on my other shoulder, he says, Madman, these women have been misled by propaganda for the better part of a century encouraging them after like the birth control pill, encouraging them for more lascivious behavior, for being more quote unquote slutty, that word you used. I'm Jesus, I wouldn't use that word. And so since the 70s, since, women's lib and all this stuff, it's like, and so it created an industry of treating human beings as biological waste. And it's just another way the medical industry makes money off the irresponsibility of these women. So look at them with a hint of forgiveness. And then I'm like, get out of here, Jesus. I'm listening to Frank Castle. And I'm kidding. Of course I'm going to listen to Jesus. I think there should be amnesty. I think it's reasonable to say that you guys have been brainwashed into thinking this way. And it's not hard to, debunk these people's moronic. The whole argument, the whole thing was a big emotional reaction, unfriending me. It's sixth grade lunchroom horse shit. I don't want to talk to Becky. Becky's dead to me. I don't want any of you talking about Becky anymore. She's out of our group. Be an adult. Disagree with somebody in a rational and calm way, and not just and that's the whole point. It's like you can't be objective about anything because it's all about how it relates to you. Lock them up, I say. You're so dumb, it makes me want to, what's it, the 19th Amendment? Get rid of that. Women voting? That's how you got Obama. Women voting. All right, let's talk about some movies. Let's lighten it up, eh? Shit. We're going to talk about Death Sentence, Kevin Bacon movie. I think this movie was a book based by the guy who did Death Wish as well. And that's the biggest problem with this movie, is it's very much Death Wish. And it starts off bad, the movie starts off bad, and it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse, and that's what makes for a good movie. I think the movie captured grief really well, because it's like, for example, if you're Kevin Bacon and his wife and your son gets murdered in a senseless crime at a convenience store, you're having these conversations, the logistics of dealing with a funeral and so called and expressed their condolences and all that. But I think it really captured the grief of when somebody loses a child like that or a family member in such a violent way, especially. I think the film really captured that great. Apparently the guy who did Saw was the director of this, and it's very, very well done. I liked it a whole lot. Revenge stories are great. I love them. But in reality, revenge is a dirty business. And this movie really shows how dirty a business it is. And the biggest part, I think, is the message of the movie. And the message of the movie is the scales of justice never really level out. And I think that's a hell of a good point. It's no matter what you do, if you don't go and kill your son's killers, if you don't go do that, you're going to get more or less justice. Less justice, maybe, but the scale's never going to even out. You know what I mean? Because now you're committing crimes. And I think that's an interesting, a moral of the story, and justice never really does level out. Really good movie. I don't want to give away too much of the plot because the second act was just fish kiss. It was so good because you take the fish and you kiss it. Why does everyone get confused about that? Really good movie. 12 of 13 stars. Like I said, it's a little Death Wish, but Kevin Bacon, holy cow. An excellent actor. Too bad he's a dipshit liberal. And even though his wife is gorgeous, still gorgeous. And, but he's a fantastic actor. He's come a long way from, what was that, Footloose? What is he? Comes in, throws glitter in the air. It's a party or something. All right. EK, when I took this next film picture, when it came up, he's like, really? He's like, yeah, I'm going to talk about the Green Hornet. I don't know if I already did or not. I can't remember. What are you doing? There's a green screen in here. Are you doing it?
I was trying to
get the lights without talking.
Noticed they were dark.
Without talking to the, yeah.
I was trying to do it without paying attention to it.
All right.
And then I called a lot of attention to it.
Yep. Well done. Well done.
And now the lighting's better.
Good. Everyone see me okay? No? All right. So the Green Hornet. I like this film. Seth Rogen is the wrong casting. Hands down, the wrong casting. Every single other character is good in this movie. I understand you're trying to make it a comedy. You know, Seth Rogen even dropped some weight for the role. Good for him. And but I think he's the wrong kind of guy to play the Britt Reed character, who's an interesting character, who is a well-written and interesting character. It's just I don't think Seth Rogen fits into that role. All right. Now, if you don't know, Green Hornet is an old like superhero. Like goes back to like radio days and comic books and stuff like that. Old series, and it's an interesting concept. It's a superhero pretends he's a villain and does hero stuff, which in reality it wouldn't take long for the real criminals, to understand what you're doing and just murder you, eventually murder you. And so, that's what happens to like people who truly try to be vigilantes. Bad choice of Seth Rogen. I like that the Britt Reed character is a dick. I really like that. It's like the whole reason he like even meets Kato is because of the coffee. he didn't get the coffee he liked, and so who makes my coffee? And so they call this Kato guy, and he's like, well, I got to keep you on staff now because you make the coffee I like. And just talks to them and finds out everything, that this guy's capable of. And, that was really what was interesting and progressive about even in the 30s when this comic book came out. Is just like this Kato character was an Asian, American who was a incredibly skilled badass and like fighting on equal terms with a quote unquote white hero and so forth. And I don't know. That's that, I don't know, that old kind of racism that people don't, it doesn't exist anymore. Well, you telling me Asian people got fingers and on their hands too? Can use tools, learn martial arts and stuff like that? I don't believe you. Absolutely. And so that's what's cool about this dynamic is like the Seth Rogen, the Britt Reed character and Kato is like the power dynamic of their abilities is just so disparate. And the only thing that Britt Reed really brings to the table is the finances, the money. And let's be honest. Gadgets and super vehicles, that stuff's cool. We've played that in our Heroes Unlimited game, where we're just making super cars and getting into road fights, riding down the highway, shooting at each other. That stuff is cool. And the fart gun or what is it called? The gas gun. And when that scene where they introduce the gas gun and Britt Reed accidentally shoots himself in the face and he knocks himself out for like 9 days. And he put a diaper on him. He's like, I had to reformulate the gas thing. Put you in a coma. And a lot of the comedy was based upon that. Plus the villain was, what's his name? From, what's his name? Christoph Waltz. Playing a Bludnovsky. And he is hilarious. Because he's so like deadpan, And I mean, I think it works well as a comedy because Britt Reed is such a D-bag character. But I think you needed someone with like a more classically handsome jawline delivering these D-bag lines. Like when Cameron Diaz shows up for the job interview, he's like, why'd you get into journalism? What's the word in your twilight? So late in your life is what I mean. He's calling her old indirectly. All right. So he's clearly a D-bag. And plus he and Kato are always arguing over like her and stuff like that and ideas and so forth. And Britt Reed's a moron. Kato knows what he's doing. But the thing is that Britt Reed is maybe a moron and a D-bag, but he's doing the right thing in the most vain and egotistical way possible. You know what I mean? It's a weird hero story in the sense is like, I do not like this person. He's a real dick to everyone around him, but he is doing good things. He's getting the right information out and so forth, which is kind of the point of the movie about the truth of the corruption in the city. But he's like a hero you don't want to say is a hero. He's kind of a hero. Which is always, I think, good for an interesting character, interesting movie, fun, good action scenes, decent action scenes. I'm sorry. I like it. I know people panned it. I know, and I think that big part of that is the Seth Rogen factor. And but I did enjoy that movie. I do like that. It's like the fourth time I watched it this past week. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I enjoyed this movie. 9 of 13 stars. You think that's accurate? 9 of 13? For the star
ratings.
Okay.
So like it can show.
Okay. All right. Well, send me a bill. All right. Let's get into the news worth knowing. Hey, I guess Biden's alive. Forget they announced he had COVID. I remember it was like over this weekend, people were like, "Oh, I think Biden's dead." Didn't they say he was sick? So I mean, it's I'm sure it was a surprise to him he was pushed out, but I mean, he was sick. It's like, oh, he just steps down and disappeared. He must have died. And it's like, wouldn't they? Yeah, wouldn't the second he died, wouldn't they tell everybody? Wouldn't everybody who's been wrangling him for the last 4 or 5 years want to go home? Want to stop that job? Anyway. Biden set to address the nation after pressure to exit from the 2024 race. So he's set to address the nation tonight around 8 p.m. from the Oval Office. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. Now I'm quoting him saying what I just said. Anyway, why'd you say the same thing twice in an article? Name. Emma Colton. Biden has been self-isolating in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware since last Wednesday. He was diagnosed with COVID-19, which forced him to cancel scheduled events in Las Vegas and fly back to his home in the first state. After suffering mild symptoms and general malaise after his diagnosis. How can you tell general malaise with him? Anyway. He received a negative diagnosis on Tuesday with this of this week and returned to the White House. His trip back to the nation's capital on Tuesday marked the first time Biden was seen in public since suspending the re-election bid on Sunday after the first time being diagnosed with COVID-19 in July 17th. Plus, you know, I would pout for a weekend if I was like the head of the party and they're like, "We need you to go. It's time for you to go, buddy." I think even I would go pout. I would go sitting for a while. People, you know, let him have it. He's out. He's done. Let the old man be an old man. Until he has to go and burn in hell. Anyway. So Biden's address on Wednesday is expected to shed additional light on his departure from the 2024 race after his campaign in the White House vowed for weeks that Biden would remain in the election cycle and determined to win in the rematch against former President Trump. Since the end of World War II, there have only been 3 incumbent presidents, all Democrats, who have turned down the running for a second term: Harry Truman, Lyndon Johnson, and Biden. 46th presidents faced a mounting pressure from Democratic allies, blah, 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 because he's losing. And so, let me explain how it works. You see, nobody voted for Kamala Harris. They voted for Biden. All right, but Biden's going to lose according to the polls. So the Democrat Party is going to take somebody that nobody voted for and just try to shove them in that office. Thinking people are going to, like, women and minorities will vote for her. For sure. And, you know, and of course, white liberal women. You know, whenever there's melanin on a ticket, white women can't resist. So that's what's going on with that. So we're going to find out what he said tonight. I mean, I understand this story is just like, hey, he's talking tonight about something. Hopefully we'll find out more information. All right. Yeah, I skip around different stories. I'm going to assume that you read the news too. And like, I'm not going to cover like the Secret Service lady, 4 hours of saying nothing. I'm not going to cover it. I'm going to cover what's worth knowing. So, Trump assassination attempt after Secret Service failures prompts calls for drastic agent recruitment changes. U.S. Secret Service should have, quote, one set of standards, according to Republican Oklahoma Representative Josh Breachin. Breachin introduced a bill on Tuesday called the Secret Service Readiness Act that aims to create a uniform fitness standard for Secret Service agents and uniformed division officers after the assassination attempt that wounded the former President Trump at his campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania on July 13th. Quote, we believe that there ought to be one set of standards for Secret Service agents. There should be multiple different ways that they can qualify based upon your there shouldn't be multiple different ways you can qualify based upon your sex or your political beliefs. If people who are being protected by the Secret Service, if they want the opportunity to let those who can't meet full historic standards on their details, let them handle it. Don't force it on everybody else and potentially make them more vulnerable to an assassination attempt. There should be one set of standards. Breachin's comments come after the Oklahoma congressman, along with other bipartisan members of the House Committee on Homeland Security, on Monday visited the site of the rally to get a better idea of how the shooter, Thomas Crooks, was able to open fire on the president from approximately 150 yards. The assassination attempt and a string of security failures or miscommunications that allowed Crooks to get on the roof of a nearby building, fire multiple rounds from AR-15 at the former president and the rally attendees, killing one of them, critically wounding two others, and brought a magnifying glass to the Secret Service from recent diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives that some experts have criticized as counterintuitive. Secret Service did not immediately respond, blah, blah, blah. The former director, Kimberly Cheeto, is that her name? She worked for Frito-Lay or whatever, PepsiCo. She resigned on Tuesday. She was responsible for executing the agency's integrated mission of, quote, protection and investigations by leading a diverse workforce, according to the USSS agency website. Critics have used Cheeto as prioritizing woke ideologies rooted in DIE, instead of only focusing on hiring the best of the agency. She admitted to a security lapse on July 13th, in an assassination attempt against Trump. To the men and women of the U.S. Secret Service, the Secret Service's solemn mission is to protect our nation's leaders and financial infrastructure. Cheeto wrote in a letter they obtained by Fox News. On July 13th, we fell short on that mission. Cheeto said that the scrutiny over the last weeks has been intense and will continue to remain as our operational tempo increases. As your director, I take full responsibility for the security lapse. Breachin said Cheeto's resignation came days too late. It should have happened the moment she started saying she takes full responsibility. Yeah, she didn't think she was going to be fired. You could tell in that when she was talking, they said, you know what happened to the director of the Secret Service when Reagan got shot? You know what happened to him? He's like, he came back to work the next day? No, he resigned in disgrace because he failed at his job. You know? Yeah. And so this whole thing is about this set of standards. All right. And okay, objectively, if women can meet the same set of standards that men can do, and you can get in the Secret Service, and you can do the same amount of push-ups as the men do, the same amount of sit-ups, and run the same times. If you can do that, fine. I'll allow you in the Secret Service. Even though I want to talk to some psychiatrists to help me discover is like how to address the way that I think that you're not psychologically capable for high-stress situations. That's my issue. And this woman, Kimberly Cheeto, she was the DEI hire that started pushing all this DIE stuff that made a presidential candidate vulnerable. And like I said earlier, dodging accountability. Always watching their butts. Anyway. All right, let's talk about these racists running schools. Mom outraged after judge okays school punishing child for writing any life below Black Lives Matter sketch. California judge sided with the school district in its punishment of a young girl over a message alongside a Black Lives Matter drawing, concluding it was not protected by the First Amendment because of the age of the student. Chelsea Boyle's first grade daughter, known as BB in legal filings, was punished by her teachers and principal at Viejo Elementary School in 2021 for including the phrase "any life" on a drawing she made to give to her friend, according to court documents reviewed by Fox News Digital and filed in the lawsuit filed by Boyle in California. Pictures showed the words "Black Lives Matter" with 4 round shapes in various different tones of brown, beige, yellow, showing different to represent her and her friends, BB's friends, who were 7 at the time of the incident. They testified in court that she gave the drawing to her friend to make her feel comfortable after her class learned about Martin Luther King Jr., according to the suit. What, are you teaching kids about Martin Luther King Jr.'s like assassination in first grade? Seems a little early. Anyway. When a friend brought the picture home, the mother saw the drawing and emailed it to school, stating that she would not tolerate any messages given to her at school because of her skin color, and that she trusted the school would address the issue according to the court documents. The principal, identified in court documents as Jesus Becerra, allegedly confronted Bibi and told her the drawing was inappropriate and racist. It was heartbreaking, really, this is a quote, to realize that this is what the schools and children are subjected to and what it's come down to, Boyle said to Fox News Digital. Bibi was banned from drawing pictures at school, forced to issue a public apology, and prohibited from enjoying recess for 2 weeks as punishment. Why? Because of the color of her skin. The quote goes on to say, the drawing included the phrase similar to all lives matter, a sentence which is inclusive, but is widely perceived as racially insensitive and belittling when directed at people of color. This is so ridiculous. It's so race-focused nonsense. U.S. Central District Court Judge David Carter stated in his ruling. That's the point. Saying all lives matter is like rebuking Black Lives Matter. That's what it is. It's like Black Lives Matter is too specific. That's the problem. All lives do matter. But if somebody says all lives matter, and when somebody says Black Lives Matter, if you say all lives matter, you're the racist. Kind of backwards thinking it. You're like lobsters on land. You're all backwards. All right, well, the judge admits that Bibi's intentions were innocent. Right, she's a first grader. He gave great weight to the fact that the students involved were in first grade, concluding that the drawing is not protected by the First Amendment. Boyle brought the lawsuit in 2023 on behalf of her and her daughter against the Capistrano Unified School District after she found out about the incident, arguing as a violation of her daughter's First Amendment rights. And they decided it wasn't. All right, we can move on. It's a story. See, it's a story about racism against the white person. All right, so former MLB slugger seeks to be the moderator in a possible Trump-Harris presidential debate. All right, I'm down. Sign me up. I'm okay with this. So former Major League Baseball slugger Jose Canseco threw his hat into the ring as a potential moderator for the presidential debate between former President Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris. Canseco made the assertion on Tuesday in a post on Twitter, as Trump said he would be willing to do more than one debate with Harris on the election as the election looms. I should moderate the debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, he wrote. Canseco might have to battle it out with David Muir and Lindsey Davis, as they were named as moderators for the next debate. Initially, it was supposed to be Trump going up against President Biden, but the latter's shocking announcement Sunday changed everything. Biden dropped out of the campaign for re-election and endorsed Harris as the Democratic Party's nominee for president. Trump said they should be willing to debate Harris multiple times. He would be willing to. Okay. Absolutely, I want to. I think it's important, Trump said Tuesday when asked by Fox News' Bill Melugin on a conference call with reporters if he would commit to debating Harris at least once. I'd be willing to do more than one debate, actually, Trump said. Harris on Monday night announced that she had locked up the nomination by landing commitments and backing of the majority of nearly 4,000 delegates in next month's DNC, Democratic National Convention, which kicks off August 19th. Yeah, I mean, she was shooting there quickly, wasn't she? Anyway, Trump told reporters that debating Harris instead of Biden would be no different because they have the same policies. Trump's debate with Biden on June 27th ultimately marked the downfall of Biden's re-election bid. Yeah. So nobody voted for that chick. Now she's on the ticket. You know, it's the only easier way is if you, I don't know, blew a judge and he appointed you to that. I don't know. Just goes to show you, you know, if you blow judges instead of rap stars, you can go a lot further in this world. All right, let's get to two more upbeat stories before we get out of here for the week. Bald eagle attacks prompt warning from Alaska officials. I told you. A series of recent eagle attacks have left Alaskans confused as to why the majestic birds are going after people. In Kodiak, Alaska, eagles have struck at least 3 locals who then required stitches. I'm telling you, it's those hooked beaks, man. According to Facebook posts shared by officials in the city of Kodiak Ports and Harbors Department. The incidents took place at St. Herman's Boat Harbor, also known as Dog Bay. David Johnson, harbor master and port director, told Fox News Digital that it's not yet known why the eagles are attacking. But there is a large nest with at least one chick nearby. So it's just like, maybe they're just guarding their territory. Don't even think about coming near my chicks. We advise harbor users in the area to exercise caution. Avoid the area if possible. Our harbor staff have taken to holding something above their heads when they near the nest. Wow. Eagles are still behaving aggressively, but with the increased awareness, it seems the number of successful attacks has decreased from last week. I don't know what these particular freedom chickens are so upset, but hopefully they'll get over it soon, Johnson added. Freedom chickens. Longtime Kodiak resident and Bering Sea crab fisherman Captain Prout said he was attacked by a bald eagle on August 2022 while walking on the same dock. I've walked these docks for over 40 years and never expected to be attacked by a bald eagle. Majestic symbol of freedom. That's in his quote. I never thought I'd be attacked by a bald eagle. That majestic symbol of freedom. He told Fox News Digital emailed statements, I felt like someone took a 2x4 to the back of my neck. Yeah, those things are big. No joke. Prout said he contemplated going to the emergency room, but his wife came to the rescue, wiping down his open wounds with antiseptic. The eagle population has increased while their food sources decreased. They're trying to eat us now, you think? Which could lead to more attacks. Fox News Digital reached for Steve Lewis, a U.S. Fish and Wildlife biologist with a focus on eagles and raptors, told local Alaska radio station KMXT that these attacks are considered strange for the Kodiak area. Lewis recommends anyone walking in the area of St. Herman Harbor should hold something above their heads to protect people or continue to watch birds so they don't swoop down and attack other people, station reported. Lewis told KMXT that they're holding an umbrella or a hat above your head will help protect you against injury since eagles tend to attack the highest point on a person visible. If you encounter an aggressive eagle in the Kodiak, contact Kodiak Wildlife Refuge headquarters. The bald eagle is a national bird of the United States. Bald and Golden Eagle Protection Act federally prohibits harm, possession, disturbance of bald or golden eagles, according to FWS. So here's the thing. It's like if you get attacked by a bald eagle and you defend yourself and kill it, are you going to federal prison? That's what I want to know. Because no offense, I know it's a national bird. I know it's federally protected. But you try to hurt me? You try to kill me? It's on. I'm sorry. I may have to go to federal prison. Or I could just not go to Alaska. I can't think. I saw a bald eagle some point this summer. I think in May I saw one. But I don't see them often here in Virginia. Anyway. Let's talk about another bird. Potty-Mouthed Parrot finds home in New York after hundreds applied to adopt him. So a foul-mouthed parrot named Pepper, I think we talked about this parrot before. I think we mentioned it. He was at a zoo and he was foul-mouthed. He has found a forever home after grabbing attention on Facebook and attracting would-be adopters from across the country. Officials with the Niagara SPCA in Niagara Falls, New York, had been sharing updates about the bird since he came into their care last month. Somebody get this guy a bar of soap and a humor-loving home, Niagara SPCA's Facebook post said. Pepper is a white-fronted Amazon, and yes, he swears, but only a little. The Niagara SPCA is a no-kill shelter that promotes adoption and rehoming for abandoned and unwanted companion animals. On June 20th, shelter staff announced that it received more than 400 applicants from people who wanted to adopt Pepper. Pool was narrowed down to 10, according to Niagara SPCA. We look for adopters who offered parrot experience, information on housing enclosures, and recognition that they would be able to age with Pepper and had plans for Pepper if he outlived them. Because, yeah, those things live like longer than us. The latest announcement posted on July 13th revealed that Pepper settled into a new home after the staff interviewed candidates. Quote, if we were to write a headline for his adoption, it would read, Potty-Mouthed Parrot finds paradise. Sailors, truckers, and longshoremen welcome. But longshoremen are sailors. Anyway. We love that Pepper's found a home with adopters. who won't be fazed by his colorful language. This bird swears a lot. Is that going to be a problem for you? Fuck no! Anyway, may Pepper have decades of issuing threats to his new family. So apparently he issues threats too? I'll kick your ass. Because he says, now go kick some ass, Pepper. Maybe that's what he says. I'll kick your ass. I'll kick your ass. You get a crab? Come at me, bro. Come at me. Pepper found a sanctuary in Orleans, New York, living alongside an African gray parrot named Shelby. Oh, he's got a friend too. Pepper loves eating vegetables and yeah, it's a parrot. Greets his adopters each time they enter the room, according to Niagara's SPCA post, which received over 1,000 reactions. You know why they do that, right? Why birds say hello? Like you can walk out of the room, go to the bathroom, grab something out of the bathroom, come out. Hello. They'll say it. You know why? Because they forgot you were there in the first place. They're dumb. You've been gone forever. Only 2 creatures can produce human language, humans and birds. According to the National Audubon Society, nationwide nonprofit organization that protects birds and habitats across America. In case you don't know what the Audubon Society is. Parrots are pros when it comes to mimicking human language, as they are the vocal learners that grasp sound by hearing and imitating them. I just think it's how the parrots entertain themselves. I can make that sound. It's like name that tune for, you know. Pepper is not yet cursed at his adopters. He's still a guest. Still feels like a guest. Then he starts getting comfortable. Then he starts swearing again. Pepper's owner has created an Instagram account to document Pepper and Shelby's adventures under the handle Two Spicy Parrots. Can't wait to read updates on our potty-mouth friend. Niagara Falls SPCA told Fox News Digital in an email statement. Yeah, because there's like 399 other applicants that didn't get them. And that's 399 followers right there, right? Plus, I don't know if you've ever seen videos of parrots talking. Ridiculously hilarious. I understand why people keep them as pets. I don't want them. I don't want one. I don't want a bird that's going to outlive me. You know? Just sitting there and like, looking at me, on my dead body's on the floor, and he's waiting for somebody to discover me, and he's like, you better feed me. Better feed me. Those cold bird eyes, the raptor eyes. It's like having a cat, dying around a cat. They're going to eat your face. This has been Shock Monkey Radio. I want to remind you again that I have a Patreon. Go to patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio. Become a patron today. I would appreciate that very much. You can also send me money through Cash App. Use the hashtag ShockMonkeyRadio, all one word. You can follow me on social media at Donaldsaw, that's the word wasteland, spelled backwards, on Twitter, at SLRobbins13 on Instagram, or you can buy my books, available on Amazon.com. Search for the author Scott L. Robbins with 2 T's and 2 B's, or you can follow the links down in the description below. If it's not there today, it'll be there tomorrow. Okay. This is Shock Monkey Radio. I'm the Madman, and I love you.